friends. Welcome to My Chemical Fancast. I'm Haley.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast about all things My Chemical Romance, except today it's a thing about Umbrella Academy.
Mm-hmm. And we have a guest. It's not just us.
Yeah.
There's another person here.
And who is that person?
I don't know. She doesn't have a voice that anyone recognizes right now. So I'll let you guess.
Yeah. We're not gonna name you through the episode. You're just gonna be a nameless entity that's appearing on the episode.
I'll be number 8.
Oh. Our guest today, you will know her from the previous episode we did in our revenge coverage. This is Cassie Whitt. She is probably, I don't know, one of the experts, I think, in anything MCR related.
One of them.
The
one.
I mean, yeah, patron saint. So we got her into this episode because she's seen Umbrella Academy, 11 times now?
I just started for the 12th time.
Oh my God. I got through 2 and I was like, that's enough for me. I'm good.
Too.
See, here's the thing. I decided I was going to stay up all night and watch it when it came out, which at first was like going to be a fine endeavor because I was like, oh, midnight Eastern time because the world revolves around me. But no, so it's midnight Pacific time, which was 3 a.m. my time. And then I had to go to work at 12 the next day. So I literally stayed up all night watching the Umbrella Academy and went straight to work and ended up staying up for like 38 hours.
Oh my God.
You're a hero.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was kind of a cool feeling because it like brought me back to being really excited about things. Like I kind of was able to manufacture like extreme excitement for myself and like didn't like sleep, and it was great. And it just brought me back to like a time and place of just like being wild and enduring things because you like stuff too much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the day before like an album release or something that you like get that excitement and you're like, tonight at midnight it's going to be released on iTunes and I'm going to listen to all of it. And
or honestly, like when Casual Interactions is released.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I love Casual Interactions so much.
Always listen to it at midnight.
Yeah, me too. I always I say that I'm not going to.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
a fucking
no,
lie.
I'm not going to. I have to work tomorrow. I have to wake up at 6:30.
You tell me that, and I'm just like, it's a bald-faced lie.
I know. Sometimes I do. There's a couple times, maybe like once or twice, that I haven't listened to it at midnight. But the rest of the times, I do it.
So, Umbrella Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Once upon a time, it was 2007. Black Parade was on tour. MCR still existed. We were having a good old time.
Life was great. Imagine when. Wow.
And then we got Umbrella Academy. Gerard said, hey, I always wanted to be a comics person. People didn't let me. Dark Horse, will you let me? And they did. They did let him.
They did.
So I know that you Haley, read Umbrella Academy when it came out, right?
Yeah, I sure did. My friend and I got it when it came out, and we sat on my couch at home and read it to each other like a storybook. And we did like character voices and
oh my God.
Yeah, it was great.
That's so sweet. I read it from the beginning too, but like not as sweetly. I would just drive a half hour every day it came out to go get it and then bring it home.
Wow.
Wow.
That's still kind of sweet. Did you guys like read any other comics though at the time?
No,
me neither.
Comic? I think it's a lot of people's first comic.
Yeah, and I read it because obviously because Gerard wrote it, but I didn't really know what to expect or didn't really expect to like comics because I'd never been into comics before. But I actually genuinely liked it. Like aside from it being a Gerard thing, I actually liked it.
I confess I did not read it when it came out because I was put off by the promotional cover art they had for it.
Really?
It was very Tim Burton-y, and it's really good art, but it's very black and gray and red, and I was like, oh, fuck this shit.
Are you talking about the James Jean cover?
Yeah.
Girl.
Listen, it's a good cover. It's beautiful, but at the time it fit an aesthetic, and I was like, I don't know what this is, and I don't want to learn. It was incorrect to me. Listen, I have regrets.
I'm different than other girls. Wow. What kind of, I can't even imagine.
Listen, I also had no friends that were also into MCR, so there's no one to tell me different. I was alone. I was on an island.
I understand. Imagine the stuff that we miss out on because we're put off by the visuals or by like the concept around it or like, by who listens to it. And you're like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to subscribe to that aesthetic. So I'm just not going to be into it. But then when you get into it, you really like it.
That's what people MCR.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it wasn't a good choice. I admit that. I'm not saying it was.
Terrible fucking choice.
Yeah. I've read it now and it's great.
Yep.
Cassie didn't know what she was missing.
I'm glad you fucking learned your lesson. It's okay. We all strive to be better. You're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me a second chance. Anyway, so Gerard won an Eisner for Apocalypse Suite.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And the video of him winning is adorable.
Oh my gosh, when they all get up and hug each other and he runs up on stage.
He's so excited.
I love that he like only really gets excited about comic things and like music awards or whatever. He's like, fuck this. But like comic things, he's like, this is real. This is legit. I'm going to like actually, take this seriously and try my best with this.
Yeah, I think one of the things, like, I really wanted to get into comics, and I would hear Gerard talk about him, and he would be like, oh, reference here, reference here, reference here, reference here, reference here, reference here, and I was like, where do I fucking start? I can't start. That's it. It's past my time. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And so, like, Umbrella Academy, I was like, you know what? This fucker knows a lot about comics, and he's writing a comic. I think I can get into this. And then I will understand. And it was like a door opening. I was like, okay, I don't need to know everything about everything in order to read comics. Mm-hmm. I see. I don't need to know everything Batman has ever done because you're going to put out a new series with a new writer in a month and he's going to do something that's fucking completely out of his timeline anyway. It's fine. There are no rules.
Yeah. I think that can be really intimidating with comics because, like, the comics you hear about the most are superhero comics, which have a really long history, and people who know, like, fucking everything about The Flash or Batman, and you're like, how am I supposed to read this when it's been here for so long?
Yeah, it's hard to delve into 40 years, 50 years worth of literature. Yeah.
But I think that Gerard, with Umbrella Academy and also with Young Animal, those are comics which have a history, but since they're like refreshed, it's like you're starting new. And also it's not, I don't know, I've never been into like superheroes, so I enjoy that he has let me know that there's a world of comics that doesn't have anything to do with superheroes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so Umbrella
that's
Academy,
dope.
it does have superheroes in it.
Yeah.
But they're like not really superheroes. It's kind of like in the way that the Watchmen are just like sort of not superheroes.
Mm-hmm. They did this thing one time, and now they're just kind of like, oh, don't really. That's not me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of walking around. Yeah, anti-heroes. They're walking around with these abilities, and they're like, I'm not going to, put it to good use. I'm just going to use it to manipulate people. That's fine.
That seems pointed towards one person in particular.
Allison.
Anyway, so speaking of characters, first character that I would like to discuss, I was thinking just going down the list. So from like top to bottom, Reginald, then 1 through 7.
Sir Reginald Hargreaves.
He's a piece of shit, first of all. Just want to get that out.
He's a bad dad.
He's terrible. He's terrible. I found it a little odd that he went searching, first of all, to buy children from their mothers, but second, that the mothers were willing to sell the children.
I have so many conspiracy theories.
Oh, boy.
Let's hear them.
Yes.
What are your theories?
Oh, God. No. You gotta introduce the basics first.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
I think they're okay with selling them because they didn't really plan on having them. They're like, fuck.
Yeah, and I understand
baby just shot out of me.
I understand that they were like, this thing is a new life form that I didn't plan on or didn't even really create.
And also presume that he offered them a lot of money.
A lot of money. But then I think, again, he only got 7 out of 43.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a smaller percentage of people that were actually willing to sell their children.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Makes me feel a little weird that, I don't know, they were bought. It's strange.
It's all strange.
Yeah.
That's the strange part. No, they are all, there's a lot of strange.
So
okay, so Hargreaves, eccentric billionaire, Olympian gold medalist, what, fucking inventor, scientist, all of the shit. Like, I want to know the things that he did other than, like, Pogo. Like, obviously, like, Pogo is, number one, a far better man than Reginald Hargreaves.
Yes. Yeah.
But also, like, his creation, obviously. And, yeah, so here, okay, so... should I get into the conspiracies?
Yeah.
I support all conspiracies.
No, we're a conspiracy positive podcast.
Well, I reread Apocalypse Suite right before the show came out, and then I'm halfway through rereading Dallas, and I had already reread Hotel Oblivion, what's out so far, and, like, there are so many things in the show where I'm like, that's not anywhere.
Yeah.
But also, Gerard, like, some of it is obviously just, like, things that they changed for television, but Gerard, like, gave him that 20-page document of everything that has happened and is also going to happen.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like we get a couple of those moments in the show, and one of them is that weird-ass fucking scene. Okay, so in the comic, they say, you know, they say Reginald Hargreaves, eccentric billionaire, blah, 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 space alien.
You know.
Yeah.
And then they
casual.
show him with a space alien face,
Yeah.
which they don't say in the show at all.
Mm-hmm.
But, so there's that weird scene in the show where he's, like, in somewhere that is clearly not Earth, in the bed chamber of what seems to be a wife figure who clearly doesn't look like a human completely.
Mhm.
She looks very sick if she is a human, but kind of, she just, like, looks like kind of gray and, like, I don't know what's wrong with her. And so he picks up this jar of, like, firefly type things and unleashes them into this landscape. And so this is supposed to be, like, the late 1800s, I think. They give the, like, time at the bottom in one of the next scenes. But here's my weird theory with that. What if those lights that he sets off into whatever world were, like, spores that were implanting themselves into future people, and they were what became those children, the ones that survived?
You know,
Maybe.
that's what I was thinking. That I heard that theory from someone else online. I don't remember where, but I was
Fucking
like,
really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard, or like, not that they were like spores, but they were like spirits or like, I don't know, alien babies or something like
Or
that.
powers, you know?
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Yeah, so that was my thing, like, because that scene was really fucking weird.
Yeah,
And
it was.
like Gerard had said, he told them stuff that wasn't revealed in the comics yet. And I'm like, is that the origin of the Umbrella Academy? Because he knew that something was going to happen. Like, he knew that these
Yeah.
pregnancies meant something, you know?
Well, the thing is, like, the violin also, like, was the violin that we see Hargreaves holding and using, like, is that just a connecting theme, or was it that he knew he had to give it to Vanya and that Vanya would have this whole thing go down? Like, is this in, like, series 8 of Umbrella Academy that we're going to get a reveal that, like, Hargreaves is kind of, maybe he's, like, kind of God or something? Like, to have
Shit.
engineered all of this, to have engineered the apocalypse?
Because God is like that cute little Indian girl on a bike.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or the cowboy.
Or the cowboy in the comics,
I
yeah.
miss the cowboy, honestly.
Yeah, I liked the cowboy a lot.
I
just
like the
how-
cute little girl. I like that they, like, said the same things for the most part, but she
Yeah.
was just more, like, sassy about it.
Uh-huh.
I don't like you very much. Same.
Oh, man. I just like how Gerard is really obsessed with cowboys, like, consistently.
Like, across the board, they show
Like,
up in every piece of work that he's
Breakfast
ever done.
Monkey, Revenge, Black Parade B-Sides, all of Danger Days. It's all cowboys.
They're all cowboys. Sheriff of Emo Town.
Yes.
There he is.
Exactly.
Wow. I'm also surprised that Reggie let them call him Dad. I would super expect that he would only allow them to call him Sir or something, or like Sir Reginald or so, I don't know, Mr. Hargreaves or something formal, because them calling him Dad just doesn't seem like a thing he would like, because he doesn't feel like their dad, because he isn't.
I think he might be cool with her, ask them to call him Dad, because he doesn't see himself as a bad dad. And I think he sees himself as a dad and thinks he's doing a good job. So
I mean, he has, like, you can see in certain places some good intentions, but he has no idea how to handle anything at all.
Well, there are like a couple things, like him giving Vanya that violin. I don't think he knows it because he's like, take it and go. And like, see, there are parts where it's like, oh, she wanted to play violin, and that's obviously like a very valued item to him. And in the comics, it's not in the story, though there's an allusion to it. In Luther's bedroom, there are 2 pictures of the moon, like from childhood. And I remember in the comic, he and Hargreaves are having like a conversation, and he's like looking at the moon, and he's like, you know, like, Dad, I want to go there someday. And Hargreaves is like, you will, son. Like in the show, they make it like a really like bad, horrible thing that he did to him. But in the comics, it was kind of, he sent me to the moon. But in the comics, it was like, oh, like, you know, he wanted to go to the moon.
Yeah. It wasn't like exile. It was a dream.
Go to the moon, son. Stay there. Sir Reginald Hargreaves. Reggie. Fucking Reggie.
I just like calling him Reggie because it just kind of puts him down on a different level because he's, I don't know, feels himself so superior, and it just kind of brings him down a little bit for me.
Right, and that weird, like, wife figure calls him Reggie, and Klaus calls him Reggie. Because, of course, Klaus calls him Reggie.
Yeah, it's weird thinking of good old Reggie having a wife. It's, you know, because he's, in that scene, he seemed like a completely different person and was, like, affectionate towards her and loving and caring and all that. I'm like, ew, what is that?
Maybe that's why he didn't take a wife on Earth, because he had one wife, couldn't have another.
Wow, and when she died, he was destroyed.
Yeah.
Once he immigrates, he, like, puts on his monocle and he, like, becomes someone new. Like, even the way that he announced himself when he was, like, about to get on the boat or spaceship or whatever the fuck it was, it seemed like he was just coming from England to America, but I don't feel like that's real. He's just like, oh, Sir Reginald Hargreaves, and it's just like, now I am Sir Reginald Hargreaves, and then he like shoves in that monocle, and the monocle never leaves his face for the rest of his life once he's in America.
Yeah.
Welcome to America. I am more British now. Fuck you.
I'm the Monopoly dude now that I'm in America. I'm good.
Oh my god. Also, the monocle in the comic, the monocle was a lot more significant than in the show, because in the comic it had like powers to see things as they truly are, I think is what Five says, which I got no fucking idea what that means, but
I don't know.
It's not a magic monocle in the show.
Yeah.
Unless the kids just don't know that it's magical.
I mean, they've never had an opportunity to look at it, to look through it. Right, because like remember in the living room when they're talking about him being dead, Diego's like, oh, it's just a fucking monocle, like, what's the big deal? And Luther's like, of course, that means that it was motivated. If someone took his monocle, it's, you know, vengeful. And they're all just like, oh, it's just a normal monocle, like, calm down. Yeah.
So,
God, I hate Luther.
Cannot wait for segment Rip on Luther. Luther?
Yeah. Also in this show, there's just kind of a lot of, I don't know. I mean, I know, obviously, there's a lot of weird things, there's a lot of strange things, but there's also, like, some really just disturbing things. The birth scene in the beginning is probably one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life.
I also have a theory about that, too.
Oh, please. I can't wait.
Okay. So I think that the series begins and ends, I think that it begins and ends with Vanya. Because Vanya is a Russian name. The first girl that gets fucking shown having a baby is in Russia. And the thing is, like, you don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but I assume, okay, so Diego is a traditional name in Hispanic countries. Diego in the fucking series, not the series, the show is Hispanic. So Diego, but then again, like, okay, I actually looked up the origins of all the names so that I could try to support this. So, like, Luther and Klaus are both of German origin. Allison is originally a French origin, so it could mean nothing. Like, Benjamin is Hebrew origin. But Vanya being her name is very, like, different from the other ones. Mm-hmm. And that scene was from Russia. I think that Vanya is the first baby we see. I think.
Yeah. I think it's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that as law. I'll take that as truth. That's
I got very passionate about that. At one point, I was watching and I was like, huh. This is what happens when you watch it 11 fucking times.
I'm sure that something happens to you, like you change internally.
Yeah. You start thinking about things. And then also, there was in Dallas, there's like a threat that basically the comic equivalent of The Handler makes, where he was going to, like, go back in time and kill Five's birth mom.
Right. And
Allison is like, I don't want to go. What does that have to do with me? Why should I give a shit? And he's like, and the handler's like,
oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, like perhaps she's having twins. So those two may or may not be a package deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was supposed to be Luther and Five.
Luther and Five?
Yeah, because then she comes back and he's like, why'd you do that, Allison? She's like, I was trying to save you.
Right.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Which is very strange now that one of them is very large and one of them is very small. But
I really just like, because it was interesting in the show how they opened it up as far as diversity of characters, because they had missed the opportunity in the comic book to have, you know, people from all different places, because these people are from all over the world. Right. Like, what's the chance that they're all just a bunch of white bababies? They're not.
It makes a lot more sense in the show.
Yeah, so I'm thinking the little Russian baby was for sure Vanya.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, she came into this world raising hell.
Yeah. Raising hell. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Another one of the, I don't know, weird things to me, or just, I don't know, it just kind of rubbed me in a strange way, was when Klaus sticks his cigarette in Reggie's ashes.
He don't give a shit.
I was like, how disrespectful.
Yeah, man.
Oh, my God.
He don't give a shit. Fuck
no, I know
dude.
he doesn't. And, like, you know, fuck Reggie. But, I don't know, it just felt like, I don't know, ultimate disrespect, or like the last thing I can do to really piss you off is stick my cigarette in your ashes on the ground.
What's interesting about that, too, is that Klaus is, like, pretty soft. You know? Like, that's not very Klaus-like.
I think he's got a lot of deep pain, you know?
And, you know, I think he had a lot of anger at the funeral, too, that he didn't really bring to the surface, but, like, one moment it did come to the surface was when he was by himself and nobody was around to judge him, and he was like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And keep in mind that half of Reggie was not spread into the wind because he knocked him over trying to get a drink. Love it.
Yeah.
I also just fucking died when they're just dump the ashes on the ground.
like unceremoniously.
Luther.
Such a bad decision maker. So bad at this.
Okay, so speaking of Luther.
Fucking Luther.
I'm just going to call him Luther for the rest of the episode. They immediately set Luther up as annoying. Like, they don't give him any, I don't know, they don't do him any favors in this show. Everything he does is so annoying. He gets up and I'm like, ugh. Just annoying. First interaction he has with people is accusing his siblings of murder. Immediately annoyed. He's like just single-minded and
doesn't have good social skills.
No, he doesn't. And I'm not even going to say that that's because he was sent to the moon for 4 years.
No, it's because he's a dick.
It's because he's an asshole.
He's got a superiority complex. I really like, though, how they kept his personality in the show, because I felt like that was close to what the comics were trying to get across.
Mm-hmm. He's a little more charming in the comics. Like, not like the most charming dude, but like still I can live with him.
Yeah.
In the show, I just want to smack him constantly.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, Gerard said that he relates to Luther a lot because he's the leader and has to make a lot of decisions that people don't agree with. And sure, but why is every decision he makes the wrong one? He never makes a right decision. He's like,
because he doesn't listen.
No, he doesn't listen to anybody.
He just wants to be number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he calls himself a leader, but I feel that a real leader is someone who's able to listen to their team and, you know, take into account what the other people think and what they feel is best, because everybody on the team was like, this is what we feel is best. And he was like, no, it's not. And I can do this because I'm number one. Even getting into the fucking van before Diego, he was like, I'm number one. Dude, get over it.
You know what's crazy? I had never even really thought of the siblings as being numbered for a reason like that until the series, It was interesting, and then Gerard brought it up how Hargreaves made Diego number 2 because he and Luther would fight about it. So they would fuel each other. But yeah, I'd never thought of them being like ranked. I didn't think of it as a rank. I just thought like, okay, here's 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
Which is also interesting because like he numbered them when they were babies, and like because the most powerful one of all of them is Allison, right? She could do literally anything she wants to just by saying it. So I'm going to say that she's the most powerful.
Okay.
And like maybe you could argue back, he named Luther number 1 because he's just a natural leader, or he has leadership skills, or whatever. But he was a baby.
It was an
How
infant.
can you
Like,
tell
what the
this?
fuck?
Mm-hmm.
How
like,
does he
when
have this
did
knowledge?
they become their number? I want to know when they became their numbers.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah. Do we
Weird.
know for sure that he named them their numbers when they were
I just
babies?
assume, and like, maybe I could go back and find a shot of when he presents them in their carriages or something, but I don't know that, but they have to be named at least from when they're very small.
Yeah. And, in the show, at least, Grace named them their actual names.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Except for number 5, who rejected it. So, yeah, we can assume that the numbers came first and then the actual names later. But, yeah, I mean, it would have had to have been maybe at least by, like, 1.
Because they have to respond to something.
Yeah, they have to. You can't just say baby.
Hey, blonde one. Yeah, no, I was thinking about this too, like as far as like numbers go, like evens versus odds. I would definitely be odds, even though I'd have to deal with Luther.
Yeah.
Because Rumor's gonna fuck shit up, like perfect fuck shit up. But then I want to get Klaus. Damn.
Oh, man.
You want to get Klaus.
But number 5, like as long as I had 5 on my squad, Murder Machine, number 5, we're good.
Right.
And eventually I feel like he'd get mad enough at Luther that he would gun him down.
I think it's possible.
No, you know what? He is very, like, about his family. I guess he fucking wouldn't. But whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, he did save Luther.
Yeah.
He did. Luther.
And I was surprised when he made the deal with the handler. We're jumping ahead a little bit talking about 5, but I was surprised when he made the deal with the handler, like, he was like, I want my family to survive. And she's like, all of them? And he was like, yeah.
I was like, really?
All of them.
All of them?
You don't think there's one you might not miss them?
Like,
much?
I don't know. Maybe Luther. But then no.
Maybe Luther.
He moves the bullet out of the way, so I guess. I think the only good decision Luther made was when he found out that Ben was a thing and that Ben was still there.
With us.
He's still with us. He immediately included him in the group decision and was like, what does Ben think? Is Ben okay with this? Does he want to come back with us and do that? That's the only good thing he did in the entire show.
He did one thing.
That's it. Everything else is just cut out every scene with Luther in it and I'm good.
Yeah, literally, are we gonna just say, like, spoiler alert, we're gonna spoil this whole thing for you?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, this is spoiler.
Okay, yeah, if he hadn't locked Vanya in the fucking room,
yes,
none of this would have happened.
No, there's so many times where Luther just made a decision that if we just didn't do that, it would have been fine.
If he had
But
just
honestly,
stayed on the moon.
Yes.
Everyone sort of caused it, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, if you're starting it out, Hargreaves caused it because he died.
Right.
But then, after that, if he hadn't done the deal, Klaus caused it because he threw away the fucking book.
Mm-hmm,
you know?
true.
Right.
That bitch hole, whatever we're going to call him, finds.
Oh, shit.
I can't think of any way that Allison would have caused it.
No.
Oh, she was just kind of a bitch to her. I mean,
I had to get my baby.
Yeah,
she was just kind of a bitch to her overall. Until
she tried, though.
Until she really realized that she was being a bitch, and then she made an effort.
She was like, "You slit my throat, but I love you."
Yeah. Oh gosh. And Diego,
Wow, I really, really skipped ahead there.
It's okay.
That's fine. And Diego just like discounts everything she says. He's like, "Oh, you shouldn't get a vote. Or why are you called to the family?"
Yeah, Diego does not help.
No, like I love Diego. He's like maybe my second favorite.
Same.
But he didn't help at all.
No. He just lets like his emotions fuel him and like just chill. Just think about it. Just sit down.
Just sit
Calm
down, Diego.
for a second.
Yeah.
Sit down, Diego.
He's very reactive. Needs to chill.
Our intro to him is that he's like this vigilante figure who's like brooding and dangerous, but he's like the biggest softie.
Yeah.
He's so soft.
Like maybe
soft
even softer
boy.
than Klaus.
Love a soft boy.
Yep.
I also don't get the relationship he has with Patch, because like they play it like they're on and off again lovers, and then, you know, she dies and he's very upset. But then Five later on asks him what he liked about her, and he's just like, cute butt. And it was like a joke.
Yeah.
But
I think he was trying not to appear as soft as he is.
Yeah, he has a lot of defense mechanisms in place. Like when he was speaking to Vanya after Hazel and Cha-Cha attacked, he was like, "You could have been killed." Oh shit, that made me sound like I care too much. Or gotten one of us killed.
You suck, Vanya.
I feel like that was a weird beat, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
what
it
this
is weird. It's weird, but you know, people have weird defense mechanisms where they play things off too lightly in serious situations, or are too abrasive or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Also, in the comics, he and Vanya had like kind of a thing, right?
I don't remember. I don't know.
So. I think it was kind of hinted at, and they're like,
Yeah,
they did,
not like
a
as much as
band
Allison and Luther, but it was hinted at, and they did that the band together in the short story.
Mhm.
Oh
They had a punk band together.
yeah. Aww.
They were cool together, but I think the show was like,
Shows like, we have one questionable relationship. We don't need two. We cannot justify having two.
It's so funny. Like, I love that everyone is super riled up about that, because in the comic, I remember when it happened, I was like, I didn't want that. I didn't want that. But it's funny, like, Aidan Gallagher, the guy who plays Five, is so funny about it, because, like, he gets on there and he gets, like, defensive about the characters.
Yes,
and he has, like, his own little, like, sassy responses. And he was like, actually, they're schoolmates. They weren't siblings. But, like, at the point where you're saying to your daughter, this is your uncle,
Yeah.
and then you want to make out, then it's weird.
It's a weird in between.
weird. It's strange. Like, I don't want any uncle daddy situations.
Oh, God.
yikes.
No uncle
God.
daddies.
No. Oh boy. I have a lot to say about that, but we'll get that to that in a few minutes. I want to know what happened to break them up, though. I'm assuming it was just because Diego's a fuckboy.
Yeah, I feel like his personality is what broke them up. I feel like that's...
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. He seemed to genuinely care about her, and you know, obviously they had like a really sexually charged relationship, but he seemed to genuinely care about her. I don't know.
I think he's just kind of a dick sometimes. I think he tries to insert his opinion a lot, probably. And she's like, I'm Patch. Fuck you.
I'm fucking Patch.
Oh my God.
She can handle her shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her death,
Lucky
though.
Diego.
Her death, though, just seems like one of those tropes where it's like the woman has to die to fuel the man's angst and make him fight harder, or you know, give him the feels or whatever. And I'm like, oh, really? Do we have to?
But he's like already so angsty.
I know, he
And,
doesn't
like,
need anymore.
The thing is it like sets him off his course. He's like, I want to fight Hazel and Cha-Cha. The
Yeah.
world's ending. Who cares?
Yeah. Like, they'll be dead in a few days anyway, but I want to be the one to kill them.
Right. And that was the one thing that he said after he was like, cute butt, blah, blah. You know, how he like crept fuckboyed there. He was like, she always believed in people, no matter how much shit she saw in the street. She saw the good in people. And ultimately, he like didn't end up killing Cha-Cha because of that.
Yeah. I think he's a good representation of how toxic masculinity is a terror in today's society. And, you know, it just, puts this burden on guys because Diego has all these emotions and he wants to show them, and he, you know, has a lot of good feelings and good thoughts and things that he wants to do that would be caring, like how he would be caring towards Vanya, and he wants to be loving towards his mother and all of that. And then he has this kind of toxic masculinity mask on where he's just like, no, I have to be tough, I have to be hard, and all of that. And
literal mask.
Yeah.
Literally wearing a mask and knives. The absolute representation. Damn.
Also, while we have mentioned masks, can we talk about the fact that this black eye mask thing is also, like the cowboy, something Gerard has put in everything?
Mm-hmm.
Like, or almost everything? Holy shit. He's obsessed with the idea of a black eye mask.
Yeah.
I love a domino mask, man.
Yeah, it's pretty classic.
Like,
Love
from
a
On
fucking
Raven's
domino
Wings to today.
Oh,
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Trying to bring up On Raven's Wings.
It's been brought up.
It's there.
Here we go. 15-year-old Gary Way.
Gary
Aw,
Way.
Gary.
Should we talk about Allison?
Yes.
Okay. Allison, or Rumor, in the comics, they only mention she has a kid right at the beginning, right? I feel
Yeah.
like we don't have this constant, I have to get back to my child.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it's.
yeah.
I think that's partly because Gerard didn't have a kid at
Yeah.
the time, and like once you have it, and I don't have kids, but like once you have a kid, you know, they kind of become your entire life, and they become everything you talk about. They're all you care about, and so you know that's understandable because I think a lot of people are annoyed with Allison, where she's like, "Oh, I want to get back to my child, and my child, I would die for her, and I love her." And everybody's like, "Okay, if I can get it, you have a kid, you love her, whatever." But you know, I don't know. I kind of get that. I have 3 nieces, so I'm kind of the same way with them, where I'm like, I would die for this child, but and you know, I think that's just how moms are.
Meanwhile, I'm that Vine that's like, what would you do if there was a child standing right in front of you?
Same.
Punch. Just kidding. I'm not a terrible person, I promise.
Oh, God.
No, but yeah, they mention her a little in the comics. At the beginning of Dallas, there's like a fleeting moment where it's like, oh, like you're back from seeing your kid, whatever. And
Yeah.
but then in Hotel Oblivion,
Holy shit.
it's like it's serious. So I feel that. I feel like the presence of Claire just gets bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I think it grows in the comics because in Hotel, like, it has reached a dangerous point.
It has reached like creepy levels. Like,
Yes.
Allison, shh.
She's off the
Oh my
rails.
gosh. Yeah, I mostly just like throughout the series, or not this, you know what I'm talking about, the episodes, I'm watching Lufer creep on her. I'm like, please, Monkey Man, leave her alone.
Looper.
She has other concerns right now. She has a child. She has a divorce going on. She has her throat slit. She has like sister
Throat
problems.
slit.
Like, please
know.
stop trying to get in her pants because we're really all set with it. We're all done.
Almost split out.
I have to say, she delivered the best line of the whole series, the biggest lesson of all of it. Sometimes men are irredeemable creeps.
Yes.
And then Vanya, but I like this one.
Oh, God.
Vanya, don't
God.
like that one. Do not that specific one. Why? Why? See, this okay. Of all the things that are fantastical in the Umbrella Academy, like the thing I could get behind the least was that Vanya would ever like that fuckboy.
Yeah.
That's the thing I can get behind the most because I feel like they did a really good job of like showing a manipulative relationship and how she fell for it because she had gotten no support or care or anything from anyone in her life ever. She's always been told she's unimportant and she's not special, and she's like clung to this violin thing and manages to make it kind of work for her, but even then it doesn't really work for her because she can't get first chair. And then this dude comes in and just is nice to her, and no one's ever been nice to her, and makes her feel special. And she just suckered into it.
They just did a really good job, I will say, of Harold making him like an abuser.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very real. Like, watching it is so uncomfortable because that happens to so many people, and it felt just fucking real as hell. Like, despite like the fantasy elements that were happening within it, like, that is what an abusive relationship looks like.
Yeah, and he separates her from her family. He puts, Allison down in front of her and is like, oh, yeah, you're part of the Umbrella Academy, right? Super lame. But yeah, he makes her not trust the people around her and makes himself the only person that she thinks she can trust, which is just how they get you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Gaslights her a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show did really well, like uncomfortably well with that.
Yeah, I think it hit close to home for a lot of people, where it's like, oh, I've seen this situation, or rather been in this situation, or, you know, whatever it is. They've seen it so many times, and it's believable.
Yeah.
And also, he made a figurine of her, like, the day
that's
after
weird.
they met.
That's weird.
Fucking, if you don't get red flags from that, I don't know what. I don't know what.
Thank God Allison was, like, walking down the street somehow. Like, how does Allison always find her? That's weird, because they don't have phones in the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a theory about this, too.
Like, what year is it?
It's 2019! Oh, today is March 24th, by the way, which means the world ends in 8 days.
Hey.
And I don't know what to do about it. Who's going to make a cup of coffee? Come on,
I will.
Volunteer.
I will.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Vanya. Okay, so the cell phone thing, I have a theory. Well, first of all, like, no one wants to write a comic or a show with, like, cell phones in it because it takes out so much fun in it.
Yeah.
But I like to think that the commission have purposely slowed down or stopped the development of modern technology in an effort to stop people from stopping the apocalypse or talking about their shit.
Interesting.
Okay.
I feel like it's all under the commission. Like, we could have fucking cell phones, but they're like, we need to prevent this from being invented. Let's prevent this at all costs. Let's make shit really, really hard for them.
I have an alternate theory.
Yes.
Which is that, and this whole fucking thing is spoilers, so, you know, even more spoilers. But in Dallas, you realize that there have been two different timelines, and that the one in Apocalypse Suite is one where Kennedy still lived. And so that's why things were, I don't know, a little bit off. And so maybe for some reason, if Kennedy still lives, we can't have cell phones. Like some weird butterfly effect about his being alive means that we can't have cell phone technology.
Yo, you know what the weird thing is, though, is they implied that Five was trying to stop the person who assassinated Kennedy in the series.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I was going to point that out, too, and then when he left, the president died anyway, like you hear it in the background.
Yeah, maybe I don't know whether that was meant to imply that he died in this show, in this timeline, or if it was just sort of a news clip to add. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, we were talking about Allison.
Yes, we were.
I found her in the comics. Like, the rumor has the dopest fucking power.
Yeah.
Like, it's so awesome.
She could do anything.
Yeah, literally anything. But, you know, in the show, it was just... I understand that some things happened in her life, and she was like, I don't want to use my power anymore. She's like that in the comics, too. But at the same time, it's like... Damn. There's a lot of situations with her in the show where I'm just like, you're boring.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, like she has the most interesting power, and then she's just like, I got into trouble because I used it on my daughter because she was whining. So now I don't want to use it anymore. I'm like, you could fix literally everything.
Yeah. You could just say, I heard a rumor. There was no apocalypse.
It'd
be fine.
Yeah. Like, I heard a rumor, Vanya, that you calmed the fuck down. Fixed. Nailed it. We're done.
I mean, she does try to do that and gets her throat cut, so.
She does. Have you guys freeze framed that episode when she, like, at the moment that she cuts?
No.
Vanya's eyes turn white in that moment.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I didn't catch it the first time I watched it, but she, like, turns, like, that's the first time you see her looking, like, scary. Yeah, so she gets her throat slit, and then she doesn't have her power. Now what?
When we first... one of the first things we see of Allison is when she's on the red carpet, and they're like, Allison, are you going to wear Valentino to the funeral?
Yeah.
Who
What a dick.
says that? Like, who asks that?
Man.
And she also has magazines of herself and, like, posters of herself in her room. How self-absorbed do you need to be to just look at your face in your room all day? That's all you see on your walls.
She's flawed.
Deeply.
She's improved.
And she was such a bitch in the beginning. Like, just lay off of Vanya. She's having issues. And she had a traumatic childhood. Like, more traumatic than Allison's, I would wager.
Hold on.
Allison.
Yeah, and in the comics, she made Luther kiss her by using her powers. Can we talk about that? Because, like...
Ooh.
Yeah, because she said, I heard a rumor you've wanted to kiss me since you were 8 years old, and then they kiss, and that's that.
See, when I first read that part, I figured that they were already going to kiss, because they were kind of, like, already in it, you know? And so I figured that they were already on their way, and then she said that, and, like, it didn't make a difference because it was already going to happen.
Then why say it?
I don't know, she thought she was being cute. I don't know. Maybe she also made him kiss her. I cannot say.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking creepy.
Yeah.
It's a weird move.
It's weird.
Weird flex, but okay.
And she used it in the episodes. You can hear when she's like crying and driving up to see Vanya in the woods, that you hear, all the times that she's used her power, and she used it to make her husband fall in love with her.
Yeah, you see that in
I heard a
Hotel.
rumor that you love me.
Mm-hmm. Or we can assume it was her husband. I'm not 100% sure, but
When you get to Hotel, you see that's her husband, because it becomes a thing.
okay.
Husband. Patrick.
I do appreciate that she tries so hard after she realizes she fucked up, though, with Vanya. Like, she tries so hard to be a good sister.
Mm-hmm.
And even when she's like, oh yeah, you slit my throat, MBD, like it was my fault.
NBD, it's fine.
It's fine, like I survived, we're cool.
Are we though?
If they had just let her go into the theater alone,
It would have been fine.
there are so many times where it would have been fine, and that's one of the times.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been just fine. I'm salty.
It would have been A++. Also, if the day that was had been the day that wasn't, or if the day that wasn't had been the day that was, everything would have been fine.
It would have been fine.
Like Five's first alteration to the timeline. Great, cool, let things run their course, and then he comes back in and he fucks everything up.
Fucks it up, man.
God damn it. See, they all played a role, but Luther
They do.
mostly. I'm going to blame Luther.
He makes the most mistakes, I feel, that contributes to the apocalypse.
Like the biggest mistakes.
It's the moon.
It's the moon. I fucking
Those moon
can't.
rays just got to his brain.
But listen, it's the moon. But the funny thing is ultimately, in a roundabout way, it was the moon.
It was the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Luther.
Okay, shall we move on to everyone's favorite character?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here we go. Klaus. Klaus is the only logical choice for a favorite character, I feel.
Yes.
Like, Diego, sure, second, but, like, Klaus is first.
He's really different than in the comics, but I like both versions a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the comics, like, there is not nearly as much focus on his drug habits.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, they definitely mention it a lot, but it's like, it's just peppered in there. It's like not his entire life.
And it's like in the form of jokes. It's
Right.
very jokey in the comics.
Yeah, like, every time I close my eyes, I see centipedes.
Yeah.
Great.
It's funny to me, like, I always remember that Gerard said that he based a lot of Klaus on Mikey in the books. And so, like, watching it, like, I was like, oh my gosh, but it's so different. He's just so different. He's like, Klaus is everything.
Mm-hmm.
I love Klaus, and the romance that gets me the most is Klaus's romance with Dave. I'm just like,
Fuck!
my heart is broken when he comes back to the present day on that bus. I'm just shattered.
I was so mad the first time I watched that, and I saw that he came back, because they show you him coming back from war before they show you anything that happened. And as soon as I saw him coming back, I was so mad, because, like, you can, like, physically feel, like, that stain on his heart. Like, you can see that something about him is changed, and, like, fucking changed for the worse.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad, because Klaus is so pure.
So pure.
Mm-hmm.
He's so pure, like, except not literally, but
Yeah.
for the most part, he's
But
pure.
spiritually, he's pure.
Yeah, spiritually.
Yeah.
He just has so much compassion for people. Like, his siblings, he knows when he gets kidnapped, they don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
They do not care that he's kidnapped, and he's like, nobody's going to come rescue me. I know that. But he still does everything he can, even after that, to help them. And, even though he's after drug money when he helps Five, he still, like, does his best to get results.
Yeah.
He just
Oh
does
my God.
everything for his siblings, and they just don't like him. They don't do anything for him.
Hopefully they learn his value later.
Yeah, and they really just doubt him the entire time. And it's funny because he is like so smart. Like they downplay him all the time, but I think I was counting like in the first couple episodes he speaks like 3 languages. Like in short bursts.
Yeah.
Like he speaks German, French, and then there's something else, but I don't know, like you can tell that he just like is very smart, but everyone is just like, oh, he's just a junkie, he's just a weirdo.
Yeah.
And so I think like there is a sad part of that. There's a part of him that's very performative because it's like, well, that's what I am, then here I am.
Yeah, he's gonna embrace that like kind of class clown role.
I was upset for a little bit that he didn't use his powers a lot in the show.
Yeah.
You know, because I think his powers are awesome.
Yeah, but we also have to set up an arc.
Right, and he's got the arc of, like, discovering his powers and that he hasn't been able to tap into them because of the drugs.
Right.
So, I get that.
Yeah, and we have to drag things out a bit because you have to get 10 hours out of, a 6-issue comic.
He also, his power is kind of, a lot of the time, like a deus ex machina. Like, in the comics, he disables the nuclear device by channeling someone who had created them. And it's just very convenient. You can, get in touch with anyone you need. He's a superhero.
Yeah.
It's funny, too, in the comics that, it explains why he doesn't wear shoes all the time.
Yeah.
That if he wears shoes, he can't use his power.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
It's a very easy kryptonite to have.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Put shoes on this man.
Oh my gosh.
Poor Klaus. No, but his power is so dope. And I like in the comics that he floats. And I know they didn't make him float in the show for a reason. Like, they wanted to humanize him. But at the same time, like, I'd like to see him float kind of sometimes, maybe. Like, maybe in the next series when he's, like, nice and sober, you just walk into, like, his room or whatever and he's just floating there. Like, I'm down with that.
Maybe, yeah, that'd be cool. Like, maybe he can, like, zen himself into floating.
Yeah, in the meditative state.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I love him so much. I just love him so, so much. And it's so sad. Like, when he's like, hey, you guys, like, I can help. Like, when they're finally when Diego's, like, listening to him because he just saved his life and it was actually Ben or whatever. And he's like, I can help. And the way that he's trying to prove that he can help is by throwing a bowling ball at Ben.
Oh, they share one collective brain cell.
You dumbass. Sure, yeah, he was able to, like, kind of punch you in the face. All right, maybe pull someone. You think he can hit, like, a fucking bowling ball? Go on, buddy.
He does his
It's our
best.
time to shine. He tried.
He did.
He tried.
He did try.
I feel like there's so much to say about Klaus. But I also just kind of feel like you just need to watch the show and experience Klaus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Klaus is an experience for sure.
I was also so crushed when he died and he thought he was going to see Dave.
Oh my god, that was so
Just so
sad.
Yes! Oh, and then he has to see fucking Hargreaves.
He's so sad about it. He's so deeply sad.
Dave.
That hurt.
Even towards Hargreaves, he shows compassion, though, because he's like, you killed yourself?
He's intrigued.
Wow, I love Klaus.
Yeah, and the thing with him and Dave, like, I love that scene where they're at the bar together and they're just, like, clearly, like, falling in love. That's that, like, hazy state of just, like, flirtiness. Like, I want to dance with you. I want to touch you. And they're just, like, having that. And I'm just like, oh, yes! the one romance I care about in the entire series.
Yes.
Like, I don't like any of the romances, like the Patch and Diego thing. But Allison, Luther, Patch and Diego, Hazel, and the donut lady, Agnes.
Yeah.
I just, like, I could do without literally all of those little subplots, except Dave and Klaus.
Yeah.
That one, I'm fine. Yes.
Yeah, and that one has to stay because it's so fundamental to his change in character. It's his reason for getting sober. It's, he becomes a lot more serious after that.
Dave. And when I got so mad for him, like, when he goes into the VFW hall.
Oh my god.
Oh. For those who can't see this, which is all of you, they both rolled their eyes just now and both turned their heads to the side at the same time. But, like, I don't know, Klaus could have been like, yeah, this is my uncle, look, and pointed at himself.
Yeah.
And that would have been fine. But at the same time, like, you don't walk up to a crying man and be like, hey, buddy, get out of here. You're disrespectful with your lace-up pants and your girl
Also,
vest.
like, he had the tattoos. Like, no one saw his bare arm. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was like, obviously it was weird for them because he's like 20-something, 29.
It's like a fresh tattoo.
And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
I just feel like it could have been explained.
I mean, you could be a vet at 29, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand that part. I was like, wait, there are wars literally happening.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
There are lots of young veterans of foreign wars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe in the time when JFK got assassinated timeline, maybe there weren't wars.
Oh.
Who knows?
Wow.
Everything could have been different.
Yep.
Wow. Clearly. Speaking of voices like that, when fucking Vanya and Harold are talking together, and he's like, what is it? Like, he's like, I like weird, and she's like, clearly. It's literally the worst. Like, she's like about to kiss him, and she's like, clearly. The way she says it is just terrible. And then, like, you know she's going to, like, touch him in a second, and you're like, no! This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Why are you doing this to me?
Oh my gosh.
I did cringe really hard whenever they kissed. It was like, oh, please stop.
Please, no.
Please.
God.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Clearly.
Oh, man. Okay. Should we talk about 5?
Yes. Let's go to 5.
First of all, Aidan Gallagher is so good at being
he
5.
fucking nails this role.
Yes.
Yo, it's crazy. Like, I was thinking specifically when Lufer has Dolores and he picks up the gun and the look in his eyes is so 5. It's crazy. Like, his mannerisms, his stance, like the way he puts his hands in his pockets, his eyes when he's mad. Like, he studied the shit out of those comics and those mannerisms, and he was 5.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I believed in 5 because of the way he portrayed him.
Yeah, he's so fucking good at that. I think it's a really that character is a really good adaptation from the comics because that's very true to what happened, or true to what was written. What was saying?
What happened?
The documentary, the historical documents.
And he trusts Vanya first with the knowledge that, you know, the apocalypse is going to happen in this amount of time. He's like, I'm going to go to you, and he's like, oh, it's because you're ordinary. I don't know why he says that, because he obviously, like, when they were kids, trusted her. And, you know,
he kind of contradicts himself right after that. He says, because you're ordinary. And then there's a pause and he's like, because I know you'll listen.
Right, yeah. I think the first one was kind of like, I don't know, I guess a defense or like an unwillingness to be vulnerable in any way or to show that he liked anybody.
Right? He gets mad at her really fast, though. Like, as he's trying to explain, he's like, what don't you understand about this?
Yeah.
I like that Vanya suggests therapy to him.
Yeah.
He's like,
yes!
Like, that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah. Oh my
Thanks,
gosh.
Vanya. It's gonna take a little more than that.
Oh my gosh. And then when 5/Aiden, the way Aiden says, you're too young, you won't understand, cracks me the fuck up, because he's 15 and he's saying it someone to, like, significantly older than him, and he's like, you're too young, and he just makes it believable, like he is actually a 58-year-old man who's like, you're just a kid, you know, you don't understand the severity of the situation.
It's so funny, like, when they're, like, at the funeral, Diego and Lufer start fighting, and Klaus goes to, like, mom shield him from the, like, action.
He whacks him away.
And 5 whacks him away. Like, what the fuck? Get out of my way.
Oh my gosh.
I've killed... What does he say? Like, you have no idea how many people I've killed. I'm the 4 fucking horsemen. The apocalypse is coming.
Oh my gosh. Also, take a shot every time 5 says you wouldn't comprehend or you cannot begin to comprehend. I can't even keep track of how many damn times he said that.
You
so
have no
dramatic.
idea. To be fair, if you're traveling through space and time constantly, it would be very frustrating trying to explain anything to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, everything is, you're, like, over everything because you've seen everything.
Mm-hmm.
I like that when they're like, oh, can you even drive? And he's like, I can do everything.
Oh my God, we were talking about that last night. When do you think he learned to drive? Because I think he did it when he was hired by, what's it called? The Initiative? No, that's Buffy. Commission?
Commission.
Yeah, Commission.
Yeah, because there were no, like, alive cars in the apocalypse.
Yeah, it seems like
alive cars.
Alive cars.
I don't even know how he ended up with a bike and a wagon. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know how he ended up with a newspaper. Like, everything, because at the end, when you see the apocalypse happen,
Yeah.
everything is fucking blown to smithereens
Except
with
this
fire.
like pristine little newspaper stand that has not
Right.
like been touched.
But maybe, see, here's the other theory I have, is that because things changed around so much in the timeline since his apocalypse happened, that it's a different type of apocalypse that ends
Right.
up happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because if it was a moon rock, there's no way that even that city would exist. Like,
Yeah,
would
it would
just
be a
gone.
crater.
So, yeah, like, who knows? I don't know. So,
I
the
don't know.
apocalypse he had, I think, is not the apocalypse that ended up happening in the end.
Yeah. I think that Vanya was supposed to be the original, quote unquote original apocalypse. But even then, it's kind of like a really widespread yet very neat apocalypse. Like, enough to make everyone on the planet die and, level buildings, but not enough to make the landscape disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's also funny, like, when the apocalypse happens and you're watching, like, people going about their lives, like, they don't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
At all. Like,
Yeah.
it happens that fast. Like, you don't hear this, like, like,
Yeah.
whirring through your whole world. No, it's fine. We're just chilling in
Yeah.
our offices.
We're just gonna call back.
I'm
to
on
the
my
commission.
payphone.
Hazel and Agnes did get out of there like right in the nick of time, though, so I was happy for them.
They did.
Yeah.
So, really, the only people who survived are the Commission, Hazel and Agnes, and the Umbrella Academy.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody else
Mary
died.
J. Blige was like, I'm busy. I can't do this for a second season.
I can't be bothered.
Mary J. Blige. I have a part-time job at a beauty store, and we have, a pop music and hip-hop music playing throughout the day, and we play 2 Mary J. Blige songs, and I always just picture her dancing in that fucking prosthetics lab,
Yeah.
like, to that song,
Yeah.
but, like, it's to her music instead, and I'm just like, yes.
Yes.
I won't change my life,
Oh my
life,
gosh.
just fine, ooh.
Amazing.
I'm really
Wow.
upset that the cover that she does in the show isn't available anywhere.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
need
what the
that.
fuck is up with that?
It sounds so good.
Yeah, it's great.
I was singing it in a restaurant, and I didn't even realize what it was a cover of, and my mom looks at me, and she was like, why are you singing that song? And I was like, oh, it's this thing, and I guess it's like a Rod Stewart song
Okay.
or something?
I don't know what it
I
is
don't know.
originally. I think it's
Yeah.
been covered a few times.
Can we talk about Dolores?
Dolores!
Dolores is way too real to Five, and he needs to chill out. But I understand it.
He went crazy in the apocalypse.
Yeah, he went nuts, and that was the only figure that he could talk to. But she became like super super real to him,
She's the Wilson.
and like, geez, Louise,
I like that he let her go at the end. Like, that's so
Mm-hmm.
sweet.
Yeah, go be
It's
with
like, go
your
be with your
friends.
friends.
Well, like, if there was a chance that he, like, went into the apocalypse world, he'd know where to find her again.
Yeah.
Right.
If she was at
That's
the...
true.
But if another point that it's like couldn't be the same apocalypse is she wasn't like burnt to smithereens,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
his apocalypse.
I feel like in that apocalypse, it was like not a huge blast of the moon rock hitting the earth where it incinerated everything, but it was more like something like Vanya, unleashing energy and slashing through stuff, and so it knocked a lot of shit down, but it didn't absolutely destroy everything.
Right. Yeah. Vanya's very good at knocking down buildings, but Dolores, man, someone pointed out, and Aiden retweeted it, the fucking wallpaper in his room
Yeah.
is like an image of him pulling the cart with Dolores in it.
Yes.
It's crazy. those hidden little things in there.
I want to go back and look for Easter eggs, but also I don't want to go back and look for Easter eggs because it will consume me. It'll take so long to get through.
I'll be watching it at like
You would-
0.25 speed.
Yeah.
I watched it. Okay, so I've watched it 11 times all the way through. I've watched the first and second episodes 12 times. And the thing about me, quote, watching it is a lot of times I'm just having it playing in the background while I'm doing something else. But I did watch it with focus, with it on subtitles.
Yeah.
And I would highly suggest doing that. Because you will... It's funny, too, like, they put the lyrics in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that Gerard said, I think it was Gerard, he was talking about the director, how he would actually write the lyrics into the script to make the music, like, a big part of the show, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like, the song that I really like from the soundtrack, Feels Like Heaven, plays when Vanya and Leonard are in a cafe. Because they're always going out to eat.
Yeah.
And they're in a cafe, and then it's playing in the background. And that song is like a twisted love song about, it's, you know, a quote-unquote love song, but it's about someone that you hate. And so it's very fitting.
Yeah. I think the trope of a violent, like, death scene or something, like, really dark and dramatic or whatever with, like, a really upbeat song playing in the background is, like, mildly overdone, but it super works when they use it both times.
Yeah.
In Umbrella Academy, Constantinople is a bop, and like everybody loves that song now. And it's like the best mood for that scene.
Someone did that at karaoke the other day. I was at a karaoke bar, and I was like, I see you. I know what you've been watching. I know you didn't just pull that song out of nowhere.
Nobody pulls
I know
that.
what you've done. No, but I do love that song.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a lot of fun.
And then the Queen song.
Yes.
When there's the shootout. And then the thing that's playing over Klaus's headphone. So while Hazel and Cha-Cha storm the place. Oh, Cinnamon.
Yeah.
That. And then, what's the other one? Oh, Gerard and Ray, happy together when they're fighting. But you know what I hate about that? Is because it ends up being the song that, like, Harold and Vanya,
yeah. That they bump to.
They bumped it.
I'm mad about
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I hate every time I think about him being near anyone. Except his dad. Like, that's cool. Like, I understand why you killed your dad.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get that. But, like, you know, anything past that, after, like, he got out of jail, I'm like, oh, that's on you, my dude. Like, I know you had a hard time, but, like, once you're an adult, take care of yourself. It's your responsibility. And he just, I don't know.
Harold.
Oh, Harold. Leonard.
Leonard. I'm going with Leonard.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Clearly. Clearly, I'm going with Leonard.
All right.
I hate it so much.
Okay, Ben.
Should we talk about,
Ben!
That's exactly what I have in my notes. First thing for Ben is Ben, very long, caps with exclamation points. I love Ben. He might be my third favorite character. He doesn't get a lot of screen time, and I hope that he gets more in season 2, if we get a season 2, fingers crossed.
The best thing about Ben is that he doesn't cause bullshit like the rest of his siblings because he's dead and he can't.
And he has this, like, higher wisdom than all of them.
Yeah.
I think because of being dead.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. He just, like, even if he knows when they're making dumbass decisions.
Yeah. And he tries
he's like,
to tell them.
oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can't because Klaus is unreliable.
Yeah. And he's obviously frustrated about not being able to physically do anything, at least until, you know, he punches Klaus and they really work on trying to pull him through. And just like in the last episode when Klaus pulls him through and he is like, oh, I'm able to do things, and immediately starts fucking shit up.
Yes.
Immediately kills everyone. And I'm like, yes, Ben, live your life. Like, live your truth, man.
Live your life.
Hello.
Live your, I don't know, unlife.
I'm interested to see in the next series, because obviously they brought him with them, if he's going to be alive in the second series.
Yes.
Because, like,
I was wondering that too.
Should, if he's a kid?
He should.
But, like, are they going to be kids? I feel like they can't be kids because that's a lot of child labor situations.
I don't know.
Logistically.
It seems like they intend for them to be kids, which would be crushing because I love all these adult actors and characters, but I've got no idea. There's not even a season 2 confirmed yet, so no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be interested to know if Ben will be a physical person.
Yeah, that would be great if he were.
So, another theory time.
Yes, I was about to say this. We should discuss.
How he died?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I've always thought from the beginning, from the comics, that he just ended up accidentally tearing himself apart.
Right. That seems reasonable.
But the reason, so obviously for the show, they couldn't do that because when you die, everyone that Klaus sees, it shows the injury, how they died. So if he was torn apart, he'd just be like a bunch of little pieces crawling around. He can't have that for the show.
Or maybe he's torn apart under his sweatshirt. And
I feel like it would show on his sweatshirt, too, because it's not like he could change.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Well, he does
He does change, though, right?
Yeah, he does
He's got
change his
different
sweatshirt.
colored
It's supposed to
hoods.
be, like, really subtle so that, like, we don't really notice, but it's more like a character development costume change.
See you change.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're taking liberties with that part of Ben because it would make sense for a lot of the show for it to be a suicide, especially because they mention like how depressed he is and how he didn't, he clearly doesn't want to kill people with his powers.
Right.
But it doesn't sound like it's suicide because they mention, that he was killed and like when 5 comes back, he's like, was it bad? I don't know. So it sounds like it probably wasn't a suicide. And then it's like, well, what injury was, I don't know.
Yeah, and the quote on his statue is like, what is it? Like, let the dark in you find the light.
Yeah.
Something else. I don't know. That, to me, sounds like the monsters that he has underneath his skin did something to him.
Ripping himself apart.
Yeah, so that to me seems like the most logical answer, but because they couldn't actually have that, be the case in the show, I don't know.
His power, we don't get to see him very much in the comics, and like whenever we do see him, we kind of see him with those like squid arms or octopus arms just coming out of his stomach. But his technical power is that he can channel the powers of any monster, right? So it's like he could do like a vampire thing, or he could do like a Frankenstein thing, or he could just like, it's sort of.
I don't know. I feel like he has like, I think it's a power to like open like a portal to a monster world or something through his
stomach.
Skin. Yeah, through his stomach.
Through his tummy.
I don't know. I think it's like a portal to a monster world or like monsters underneath his skin or something like that. So, and I don't know what kind of monsters. It seems to be like the squid one is most active. That squid one is just
like
ready to go.
Like a kraken, like the actual kraken. I think that's why when it was, he was the horror, but then there was the kraken, and I would always think that he was the kraken because of his his tentacles.
Yeah.
The kraken. I love too how Gerard is like, this character is basically useless in the comics.
He did that shit on purpose.
Diego. Soft Diego.
Just here to brood.
Oh.
Also, when did Ben die? Because he died when they were younger, like when they were teenagers, but Ben in the show looks the same age as the rest of them, so I don't know, maybe he just looked like that when he was a teenager. But
okay, so this is weird too, because in the comics you see him as an adult as well.
Yes.
But in his statue on his
he looks like a kid.
He looks like a kid. So I don't know.
Maybe
are there multiple timelines where he's alive when he's an adult or not?
Maybe they wanted to memorialize him as a younger person because that was when the Umbrella Academy were together. Mm-hmm. And he's like, maybe like Hargreaves made that decision to.
Right, that's how people know him to look.
Yeah.
That's how the world sees him.
I don't know. A lot of questions. No answers.
Interesting. Ben. Sweet, sweet Ben.
Yeah, I love
What
Ben.
did we do to deserve? And I love that he's just present with Klaus. Like, he's in the comics, he's just dead. We see him in flashbacks, but like, we get to like have him and hold him. There's one panel in the comics where I think they're in Japan and he's holding like a little like sea monster thing. It's like a plushy looking thing. And it's just like soft Ben.
Aww.
Just soft Ben,
I love Ben.
Me too.
Wow.
Broods.
I also wonder, like, when Ben became permanently attached to Klaus, because if it was immediately after he died and Klaus just hasn't told anyone this whole time, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Or maybe Klaus has just been trying to tell them this whole time. They're like, shut up.
Yeah. No, he's not.
Fuck off. Oh, baby Klaus.
My gosh. Wow. And how fucked up would that be? Like, your brother just died and then you see him, like, you're at the funeral and he's, like, sitting next to you. And you're like, that would just be very strange.
I guess this is what we are now. Yeah, that is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't need to be sober to see him. He's just with him.
Yeah, I think it's because it was such a strong connection. I think a few of the siblings had such a strong connection, like 5, when he gets to the apocalypse, the first people he calls for are Vanya. And Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he calls for Hargreaves. But yeah, I think that, they have certain connections, like they were really connected to one another, and I don't know, maybe that carries through to the afterlife or something.
Interesting.
Should we talk about Vanya more?
No, I don't want to talk about Vanya.
Well, I'm sorry.
We've talked a lot about Vanya already. It just happens.
Yeah, the first time we see Vanya, obviously, other than her providing the soundtrack for the intro of the show, she learns about her dad dying, and then she immediately uses her powers, I think, anyway, because it starts raining.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I think that was like a foreshadowing moment.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hadn't thought of that, but okay. I accept.
That's what I think, anyway. I mean, she doesn't and I know that she's on the mood stabilizers so that she can't use her powers, but I think it was maybe such a strong emotion that it came through anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I just want Vanya to have some self-esteem.
Yes, any.
It's not her fault that she doesn't have it. It's not her fault. Bad things have happened to her, but, like, Vanya, just hang out with your sister, have drinks, like, something, please.
They could have been a killer duo, her and Allison. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
And then fucking Luther ruins everything.
Fucking
Lucifer.
What a dumbass decision. I'm gonna lock my sister in this chamber. Even though that's exactly what went wrong the first time.
Brings back her trauma.
Yeah, I just think I'm just gonna leave her here, because fuck her.
Ugh.
God, I hate Luther.
God, why? And then the whole time, I just feel, oh my God, so many feelings. Hold on, let me catch my life together. Hold on. Okay, when they're each coming in one by one and literally everyone is outvoting him and saying, let her out. Yeah. I want to make sure that she is seeing them say that. Like, no, Vanya, this is just Luther. He's the only one who's being a prick.
Yeah.
Like, they love you. They still love you. Even Diego, even though he pretends he doesn't love you, soft boy Diego has your interest in mind. Klaus is about to cry. Allison is going to beat up Luther. I wish she would have actually tried to beat him up, though. Like, she gives him a little shove.
Well, she's lost.
I want more.
She's lost so much blood that, she's still recovering and she can't really do anything physical, so that's why she's like fainting on top of him, because she's still recovering from a lot of blood loss and she literally almost died. So like I'll cut her some slack there that she didn't try harder physically, but she really I feel that she should have been the deciding vote as to whether or not Vanya got out.
Right?
Well, Luther
she's the one who fucking got her neck slit.
Yeah, and Luther just chooses, because he had a chance to redeem himself, too, at the concert. He had a chance to say, you know what, I clearly fucked up the first time. Maybe Allison does have some good ideas. Nope. Goes in there and fucks up again. Learns nothing.
No. He just doesn't learn.
Jesus.
But, without him, we wouldn't have gotten that badass scene of her walking across the road to Barracuda and fucking flipping that car over. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The guy's like, move, bitch. And she's like,
show you a
bye. I love to, okay, so, I guess skipping ahead a little bit to her creepy era. I'm not even I don't want to talk about the Pogo thing.
Oh, God.
When he gets crucified.
But we have to, though. I think his death in this series is worse than the comics. Like, honestly, it's worse.
Yeah, it just explodes in the comics.
Yeah, it's like immediate in the comics, and then in the show, it's like slow and painful, and it's...
And deliberate.
Yeah, very.
Like, in the comics, it's kind of an accident that she blew him up.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's, like, very glossed over. And number 5 is even, like, fascinating when he finds him. Like, what's this? But, and you just see their relationship throughout just build, and how he was, like, very dad to her.
Yeah.
And, like, very comforting to her, and cared about her a lot, and didn't want Hargreaves to lock her in the fucking chamber, and actually felt bad for her. And,
wasn't enough.
Yeah. And then that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's, like, I think that's supposed to be the point where you're like, okay, she's not redeemable.
No.
Like, she's terrible. But you're still like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Vanya. Poor Vanya.
Yeah, because, like, we'll get to Pogo in a minute, so I'll keep it. I'll keep it for now. But Klaus, in the scene where they're locking her up, you know, really connects with her in that moment, because he had a similar experience of being locked up as a child, and it traumatized him for the rest of his life. So he understands, like, yo, she's reliving her trauma right now, and we need to help her, and maybe she has some things going on that she needs help with that maybe wouldn't be solved by locking her in a soundproof cage.
Maybe.
Right. Yeah, he brings up the fact that she just found these powers, and she has to be, like, scared.
Yeah, he's very
and
reasonable
doesn't know
about
what to do with. And yeah, and that's the truth. Like, once she finds out, she's like, oh, I shouldn't be able to do this. You know, she doesn't like it at first, and fucking Harold Jenkins
Fucking Harold.
is like, no, keep doing it.
Oh man,
I hate him so fucking
much.
much.
Harold. I like in the comics in Hotel that Vanya is like rehabilitating, you know, and she's chilled out and she's like obviously very depressed, but is learning how to be a person again. That's really touching.
I also love that even though she's on these like mood suppressors, she tries so hard to be doing what she loves and doing what, you know, she wants to be creative, and she loves doing, you know, she loves playing violin, and she teaches lessons, and she wrote a book and all that kind of stuff, even though she's like just traumatized and depressed for her entire life and doesn't know how to fix it. She puts forth so much effort to try and be happy, but everyone puts her down. Like, even the conductor in the orchestra puts her down. He's like, I didn't notice that you weren't here. Shut up. Like, who is this mean?
Fucking Helen.
Fucking Helen. Oh my god.
R.I.P. Helen.
Oh, okay, honey. You're never gonna be a first chair. You're just gonna like slog away at Stravinsky.
Like a scared 13-year-old.
Oh my god. I wasn't like super bummed out that she got
No,
killed.
nor was I. I do think the show gives kind of a weird and a little alarming message about how medication like suppresses who you're supposed to be, and, you know, like that you're better off without it or something. And I know for millions of people, it helps them be normal, and it just helps balance their chemicals in their brain, and that's it. You know, it's not like you lose who you are kind of thing. So I don't know. I feel weird about that kind of message that it's giving. I know it might not be intentional, because that's just how the plot has to go, because she's on the mood suppressors and then she's off and she can feel again and be powerful. But I don't know. I feel weird about that message.
I do too. I'm trying to think in the comic. So in the comic, she doesn't know she has powers, and it's the actual orchestra that recruits her and teaches her that she does. Whereas, and there's like nothing really suppressing her.
Yeah.
She takes pills in the comics. I don't remember how, and because I remember she says that they're for her nerves too, but I don't remember if there's an emphasis on her not taking them eventually. I don't remember that panel, but it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
But I do know that there are pills involved in the comics, definitely. Because that kind of comes with the Klaus too, and that Klaus, you know, in a different way, that Klaus does a lot of drugs and can't tap into his powers when he's not sober. So I think there's like, you see two different sides of that. It is kind of a weird message, but it also makes sense with the mechanics of the show, you know, and that their powers are obviously like a part of them physically.
Yeah.
So I think that the show justifies it, especially by showing you a different case with Klaus. But yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about, though, because personally, I kind of owe part of my life to being medicated, and I know that Gerard has been very vocal in saying that he takes medication for his mental health. But I mean, technically, with her, she was being wrongly prescribed something.
Yeah.
She actually didn't have anything wrong with her, is the thing.
Yeah. I don't think it was, certainly not an intentional message. And I think you make a good point that it's not medication that she needed.
Vanya. Poor baby Vanya.
So we haven't talked about Grace hardly at all. I feel like we should at least a little bit because she has like a huge change from the comics to the show.
Oh, yeah.
She's a robot in the show.
I miss mannequin Grace. I do. I miss mannequin hoop skirt Grace with detachable arms.
And like organs in the mannequin.
Just
like,
because
I just loved it.
At the funeral when she's like, I didn't want to put my arms on because they hurt. That kills me.
I know.
She's like, they're so uncomfortable.
I feel like mannequin Grace would better explain Five's love for Dolores.
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh my god, does he have like an Oedipus complex?
Yes, he does.
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Holy shit.
Robot Grace is good too, though. I'm not mad at Robot Grace.
I love Robot Grace. I love her. And she's very like pristine, like 50s housewife kind of thing, similar to the Handler. They're like the I
thought they were the same
adult
person at
women.
first for a second. To be honest. I thought that Grace had gone through some changes over time.
Oh my god. Within time.
Oh my gosh, that would have been amazing. Grace becomes the villain.
Oh my god, the fucking Handler.
Yeah. She has a really good arc in the comics, especially in Hotels, so I hope that if it gets that far, they keep that, because she becomes awesome in the comics.
Mom.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting when she's like sitting there in her quote unquote room looking at the paintings that she's like appreciating them and she's obsessed with that woman in the one painting. And Diego, when he's talking to her, dismisses it as like, oh, you're just being crazy. But I think it's like kind of indicative of her evolving past just a robot who has programs put into her because she's appreciating art and, wondering about things that are kind of abstract and stuff like that. So that, I don't know, for me, that indicates a human quality.
Yeah, and you start to see that in The Day That Wasn't, when she and Diego are, what does she say? She's like, the weather's nice, it would be a good day to go to the park. And Diego's like, Dad never let you leave the house. And she's like, Dad's not here anymore, silly.
Yeah. It's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to do what I fucking want. And Diego's even like, you're right, you can do whatever you want, Mom.
Yeah.
Soft Diego mom tender moments.
Oh my gosh.
I think they are pointing to that she's advanced because Diego asks her, when you say something, is it like you're saying it or is it like Hargreaves like programmed the lines into you? And I don't think she answers, but
And she said, your father isn't here, silly.
Yeah. I think the whole question is like, no, it's her.
Yeah, no.
She's a beast.
She also, when Diego, like, kills her or shuts her off or whatever, she says, remember? And I'm like, what? Remember what? What are you saying? That's just, I don't know. I feel like it was one of those lines that was put in there to just kind of be dramatic or be mysterious or something because it didn't really make sense.
I think it's about his stuttering. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought too. I thought that she was just kind of glitching and being like, remember what I told you about your stuttering, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think also it's kind of in there as like, but was she going? Like, it's that, like, debate, like, how cognizant is she of everything? How much is she thinking about things? Where you're like, oh, but remember what? Like, it could be a machine, but it could be, like, Mom.
Yeah. And she has a lot of secrets. She and Pogo have a lot of secrets. Yeah. Secrets have also caused the apocalypse. If people were just straight up about things, we'd be in a lot better position.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Man.
I had this in my notes about Pogo. If he had just communicated...
Yes.
Anything.
Like,
I understand that he felt indebted to Hargreaves, for being, I don't know, created or, I don't know, advanced or something. But if he had just acted like, because I feel like after a certain point, he has a duty to the kids as a pseudo father to them, as, more of a father than Hargreaves was. to keep the kids safe and informed of things that they needed to be informed of, rather than just being like, oh, Sir Hargreaves told me not to tell you guys this, so I'm just not going to tell you.
Yeah, like, fuck that guy. Like, Pogo must see that this guy sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like, so just come on. He's dead now. Do your own thing, Pogo.
Yeah, seriously.
Be free.
Man, Dr. fucking Phineas Pogo. Oh, I love Pogo.
Yeah.
But he's made some choices.
Yes.
They've all made bad choices.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
I like that the show is made up of flawed characters, that there's no perfect character, but also I get so frustrated with their flaws.
Yeah.
They should know
Right?
better.
I know.
They're so bad at everything. Like, you see them starting to do something and you're just like, no!
I see this not ending well. Please stop before you even get started.
Love
Okay,
it.
so I wanted to talk about Leonard and then Hazel and Cha-Cha, and that's all I have.
The other thing I have to say about Leonard is, fuck that guy.
Leonard. Duh. Yeah, I fucking hate Leonard. I would like to insert a screw into his eye, slowly screw it, set it on fire so that it burns while I unscrew it again, and then screw it in another place in his eye, then pull all of his teeth, cut his tongue in half, and then do what Vanya did to him after.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I
hate him.
hate him. I'm
This
really
is,
glad that he was stabbed.
A PSA to all our listeners, don't piss off Cassie Whitt.
I was like trying to think of a nice way to say it. That was my nice way.
I was never more excited than when he was getting stabbed. You know?
Oh,
I
God.
was having a really good time then.
Yeah, no, I was thriving. I was living.
I felt the deep Carrie in that scene, because you know when
Yes.
Carrie kills her mom? Love it.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
How did Leonard get an appointment? Like, how did he get to Vanya's place? Because what I was thinking is that, because he made it sound like when he showed up for the appointment, he was like, oh yeah, I have an appointment. And he made it sound like it was already a thing. I think he just found the book in the trash because he was being creepy and stalking UA people. Found the book, found out about Vanya, and was like, looked up her address and was like, oh, I can find her and I can, do my plan through her. And then just showed up and acted like he already had an appointment. And she was like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot.
That seems possible.
Hmm.
He's a manipulator.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
Yeah, he's awful.
I don't know. Did he have a plan? Like,
I don't know what his plan was.
I have no idea if he had a plan or not, of like what he was going to do with Vanya. I mean, obviously he knew that she was really powerful because he had the diary, but like, I don't know what he was planning on.
Yeah, I don't know what his end game was. Like, was his end game to end the world or just to kill all the Umbrella Academy members, or
I have no idea.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. And the only person who actually did him dirty in the Umbrella Academy was Hargreaves.
And he did everyone dirty.
Yeah, and now Hargreaves is
Yeah,
dead.
and you're not special. I don't know. It makes it seem like he was on a mission.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it seem that it was like very deliberate.
Yeah.
And that he wanted like everything to collapse. But I mean, I guess it was. See, it's weird because clearly he was very happy when Allison, quote, died. Like, he
Right.
was so
He came and
happy.
he
He was
smiled.
like, he came and he was smiling and he was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, so proud.
Vanya, I can't believe you did all this wonderful thing. And, but then later, like when he's like bathing.
Oh,
God.
it's so creepy.
Oh, God.
And he's like, we've got to get out of town. Your siblings will become looking for us, which like is them evading the siblings for her to become more powerful. So I feel like he just wanted to watch the world burn.
Maybe he just
Right.
wanted to own her, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Have you guys ever
Yeah.
seen Ginger Snaps? I think it's the second one. But basically, it's a werewolf thing. And at the end of it, spoilers for Ginger Snaps Back if you haven't seen it, the girl turns into a werewolf and there's another girl with her. And she, like, keeps the werewolf in her basement to, like, use her to kill her enemies. So, like, I don't know. I got those kind of vibes from it, that he was like, I'm gonna fuck everyone up because he has this girl on his side, and just anyone that pisses him off, he'd be like, Vanya, sick him.
Yeah. And he was obviously like making her fall in love with
Yeah.
him, and Who knows, like, is he a sociopath? Is he capable of loving her? I don't think he actually did. So obviously she would be defensive of it, and he proved that by hiring those guys to harass him.
Yeah, what the fuck? That was like, that was where this was like, oh shit, no, this guy is the most bad news.
He lost his eyeball. I don't think that was intentional, but like...
No, but he hired the dude. No, fuck this.
He went
Fuck
way
that guy.
too far. He was too much. He's just... He's extra.
He was entirely too much the entire fucking time that he existed. He shouldn't have been.
He shouldn't have been.
The commission should have erased him immediately. No, they wanted to keep him around.
Yeah, they did.
Fuckers.
Because he causes the apocalypse, and I guess it was supposed to happen, so...
It's their raison d'etre.
I did like that Allison discovered his identity via microfilm.
Oh my gosh.
Via going to the library and putting in a reel of microfilm and going through old newspapers.
Jesus
I used to do that. I used to make those films.
Another way that this could have all been prevented. Like, she literally could have taken a picture of his fucking police report, sent it to Vanya, and it would have been done.
Yep.
It would have been like, listen, this guy's a murderer. Get your ass out of there. And then
out.
she would have gotten out of there because he was busy, like, going and getting the guy from the hospital and killing him. Like, you could have gotten right the fuck out.
She also, like, leaves a message on her home phone. And, like, again, just a little Nokia could have fixed so much.
Yeah.
Just a wee Nokia.
Just like a talk and text thing from fucking Walmart. Doesn't, like, just do something. Anything.
No, not in the year of our Lord 2019 in Umbrellaverse.
In the Kennedy timeline.
No way.
Wow.
Fuck.
Okay, Hazel and Cha-Cha, last thing I have. I loved Hazel and Cha-Cha in the comics because they were just fucking crazy. And they just loved to kill people. And they thrived in that. I was so sad when Hazel and Cha-Cha came on and I was like, you guys are not nearly as crazy as I need you to be. The only time they lived up to that expectation was when they were high in the lab and they were burning everything down. That's the only time I was like, this is how it should be the whole time.
Yeah.
But I do like that they have more depth in the show and that they're able to show, I don't know, that they have actual personalities. And Hazel, though, is a little too soft to be a killer, although he's built like a fridge. Like, did you see when Diego was hitting him? It just fucking bounced off of him like it was nothing.
I like that Hazel. I do miss the Hazel and Cha-Cha from the comics that just like ate Twizzlers and wanted to destroy things because it was fun. But I do like that Hazel has a story arc in this show.
Yeah.
And that Agnes is like secretly a serial killer in her past life.
Yeah,
like,
I'm pretty sure she's killed some people. I mean, she took first of all, she took the murders in her donut shop way too well. She was fine. Too chill after that. Second, she takes Hazel's past, like, oh, we all have a past.
Like, what past does she have?
What past does she have?
Agnes.
She has a record. I'm so sure.
Agnes. Yeah, because when they're, like, he comes in, he kills the handler, and she's there, and he's like, oh, I understand if you don't want to be with me anymore. And she's like, well, everybody has a past.
She saw this woman get a headshot and was like, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever. No big deal. I just saw somebody die.
Okay, Agnes Stropha, whatever.
God. So they're different, and I miss old Hazel Cha-Cha, but
yeah,
I'm okay
I understand.
with new Hazel Cha-Cha.
Yeah, I understand. Like, if they used that in the show, it could have been kind of cringy and, like, too try hard. I don't know. It feels like if they tried to do that kind of line for line from the comic, it would have been like, oh, these people are trying to be too Hot Topic edgy.
I feel that. One of my friends actually was like, man, I'm bummed out that Hazel and Cha-Cha in the show, like, have faces.
Yeah.
He was like, I wanted under that mask to just be, like, so fucked up or something that you just couldn't see it. But at the commission, they actually have a bunch of masks just like that people wear. Like, you see it in the background with the briefcases and stuff. You see masks like that. And that was sort of like their hallmark. Like, in the comic, you would see Hazel and Cha-Cha walk by, and they'd have their weird big heads, and that was just them. But in the show, like, it's a costume that it looks like anyone could go grab. Which is a bummer.
It is a bummer. I wanted that to be, like, their trademark. No, that's only their thing.
Nope. It's cool when they put the masks on, though, for the first time you see them in the department store. They, like, put them on, and then they inflate.
Yeah, and they become, like rock solid.
Yeah.
But, like, you can put them on. They can be in a state of, like, maskiness, but then they can be, like, fucking helmets.
Yeah.
Crazy. What kind of witchcraft?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. For some reason in the show, they, like, switched their names.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe just because, like, Mary J. Blige wanted to be Cha-Cha.
I mean, is Hazel a man's name? I guess.
I mean, I don't even think that those are their real names. Like, I think they're just code names.
No.
So I don't know why it would super matter. I don't know.
I feel like Cha-Cha is just a fun name.
Yeah.
It's a better name for a lady to have. Hazel doesn't look like a Cha-Cha.
Right.
You know?
No, I get that.
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, and they were both dudes in the comic, right?
Yeah.
Or at least, like, dude body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't at least implied.
Right.
And Hazel, or their names are switched. The blue-headed person in the comics had hairy arms.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it.
Mm-hmm. I have hairy arms.
Exceptionally hairy arms.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the scene where Mary J. Blige, I'm not going to call them Hazel and Cha-Cha. I'm just going to say Mary J. Blige and Hazel because I unfortunately don't know Hazel's actual name. I think it's like Chris or something like that. I don't know. But when she is putting like the curling iron on her arm, I am
badass.
Disgusted.
Why?
Oh my God.
She's cauterizing her
Stone cold.
wounds.
The way it just like
Stone.
Oh God, it looks like
cold.
she's putting a hot knife through butter. It's disgusting. It just freaks me out.
Love
Take
it.
anything.
Hashtag my king.
And she's like totally unfazed by it. And I know that they're like really trying to get across the point that she's like super badass and can take anything, but it just squicks me out. I'm like, bleh, it's gross.
It's effective. I also really like her outfit, her blazer, and like
Yeah.
those catches.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Holy shit.
Yes. The whole scene of them dancing in that burning lab though is iconic.
Yes.
Iconic. And I love the aesthetic of her like short bob and the way that it mirrors the ears of her helmet.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's like such a vibe. And the first time I watched it, I didn't watch it with subtitles, so I didn't know the name of the song. But I listened to that song a million times trying to translate the Spanish and find out what it was. I was desperate because I needed that energy in my life. I did figure out what it was. It's called shingling. I thought he was saying shiggity. So I was like, shiggity. What is a shiggity? Let's look it up. I hear the word dance in Spanish. Okay, let's see. What is this?
I didn't like, though, that they kind of, when Hazel and Agnes were like going to run off together and Mary J. Blige saw it, that she seemed like kind of jealous, or that she, I don't know, that it kind of felt like that she was in love with Hazel or something. It kind of gave me that vibe.
Yeah, that was
It was like
weird.
unnecessary.
I wasn't sure if it
was-
was supposed to be romantic or just her jealous that her partner.
Right, that
Wasn't
she was
committed.
feeling like abandoned and like, you know, she's pissed that he's going to run off. But they were talking about running off, but maybe she just thought that they were going to run off together and be best friends or something like that. But I don't want her to have any emotion. I just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not down with it. No, when they go to the forest, and you see it 2 times, because you see it in the day that was and the day that wasn't. In the day that was, you hear him say, you know, he's talking about the birds, and he was like, yeah, they've got it figured out. And Cha-Cha's like, what's that? And, you know, attitude. You know, she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
What is it? I'm about to shoot you, but humor me. And he's like, sometimes it's right in front of you. A simple life with a partner. And then she's like, oh, a partner?
Yeah.
But what kind of partner?
You know? But I feel like she doesn't want
Yeah,
that.
like just because
No.
he's
I
into
feel like
it
she
doesn't mean she wants it.
I think she wants a partner in crime. I don't think she
Yeah.
wants to like
Yeah.
have a romantic partner.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because it's like it feels romantic because he's technically talking about
Yeah.
Agnes. So like if she takes it as being, I think she takes it as being about
Right.
herself, and so she starts thinking things that she wouldn't normally think. But I don't know. I feel like it's out of character.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
like
very.
it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
she kidnaps Agnes, and when she's like talking shit about Agnes, I'm like, oh my god.
It was a
It was a lot. There was a lot going on there.
She was dropping the slut bomb, the whore bomb.
Yeah, she said, get your dick wet. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Are you serious?
Yeah! Woo! When she said, get your dick wet, there were 2 moments in the show where I was like, oh, and one was, you're just trying to get your dick wet. And the other one was like, jerking off on Mr. Snuggles' teddy bear.
Oh my god.
Just penis horror everywhere.
Yeah, it felt weird to me that I was like, why would she care that much? All of a sudden, she's like super jealous, and I don't know.
She got super like mean and jealous. It was crazy. Like, she's like a mean motherfucker. Yeah. Like, she has to be. That's her job. Yeah, but
she's like professional. But, like, she's down to business.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, she got real personal. Mm-hmm. Strange character reveal. I don't know.
Yeah, because they didn't even...
Speaking of character reveals, Luther. Back to Luther. Yeah. In the comic, it's, like, well publicized that he, like, has that surgery and becomes, like, ape body.
He walks around, like, naked, and then, essentially.
Yeah. He's, like, naked. He just, like, wears, like, an underwear with tubes situation. It's very strange. But in the show, it's very dramatic, like, them finding out. As if he's not hiding something.
As if he's just, like, a massive, weirdly disproportionate giant.
Yeah, he's straight up built like a Dorito. Like, just... the biggest Dorito.
Oh my god. I love all the memes of just, like, top-heavy objects that are, like...
I love the giant
with the bear. Yeah, the bear with the really small
head. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was off topic, but that was very interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting how they gave him, like, body image issues.
Yeah, he's, like, trying to wear a turtleneck and pass it off as
in, like, gloves and a trench coat all the time.
Except when he's on Mars.
Yeah. And the girl's like, there's a furry here.
I love the furries. Not just furries, the furries.
The whole community.
I love the furries.
Okay, that's all I have on the characters. If you guys have anything else you would like to add in before we wrap up, then feel free.
I don't know. Besides the fact that I'm just really happy that in 2019 we're getting fresh Gerard content that is also highly publicized and more mainstream Gerard content. Mm-hmm. So proud. So proud.
And, like, super excited because, like, I have friends, obviously, who are, like, grown-ass adults who don't care about MCR stuff. And the other day, one of them was like, man, so this MCR thing is really, like, happening, isn't it? And I was like,
what do you mean?
Because, like, 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge charted again, which is crazy. And, I mean, presumably it's about the Umbrella Academy. Like, and a lot of people being like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. Can I tell you guys a story? Okay.
You look so devious.
So this is now. This is about a member of the general public, the Umbrella Academy, and Gerard Way. Okay. And I sort of tweeted about it, but here's the story. So I was out with my friend at a karaoke night. The karaoke night I was talking about where the person sang Istanbul, not Constantinople. And so my friend introduces me to this girl he knows, and her husband actually had met me before, and he was like, oh yeah, we started watching the Umbrella Academy. I was like, oh, the Umbrella Academy. And I was just, like, very excited that they were watching the Umbrella Academy. And he was like, yeah, but she stopped me. So the new person I'd been introduced to, she stopped me, though, at the last episode because I told her Gerard Way wrote it. And I was like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? And she gives a thumbs down and she goes, ugh, can't stand Gerard Way. Okay. And I was like,
did you kill her?
I almost did. It was crazy. I was like, are you kidding me? I said, like, I was bewildered. I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, I just can't stand My Chemical Romance. And I was like, what do you, and my friend, meanwhile, is watching this exchange, and he's like, I beg of you, don't say that to her. Like, I am pleading with you, please do not say that to her. Like, her specifically, you have no idea. And so, dramatic and very Klaus way, I went storming out of the bar. stormed straight out.
Goodbye.
That's the only reaction.
Walked outside, paced a little, just
Yeah.
paced back and forth, and was like, what the fuck? And so I went back in, and I went up to my friend, and she was hiding. She was gone.
Holy
She had, like, gone to the restroom. And so I was just, like, deep breaths, and he was like, you good? And I was like, mm-hmm, yeah, I'm good. And then she came back out, and so I recently realized from my astrology, if anyone cares about astrology, that I am a Pisces sun with Aries rising, which basically means if you don't know me, if I'm uncomfortable with whatever, I present myself in a very Aries way, which is very like, do this, hot-headed, kind of just go, go, go. And on the other side, I'm a very sensitive and empathetic Pisces, like at my core. Very soft, but like, on the outside, very, okay, let's go.
Right. Ready to fight.
So my Aries rising wanted to fight. And then when she came back, I was like, okay, I want to understand why. But no, so the thing that actually made me storm out of the bar was she was like, I just hate them. They're so overrated. They're like Nickelback.
Oh, no.
That was, no.
Last straw, stormed out of the bar. Just straight up fucking stormed out of the bar. And then I came back in, like Nickelback. I couldn't believe her. It was just so funny how my friend was like, I beg of you,
Oh, my gosh.
do not say that to her. Like, I'm pleading
Of
with
all
you,
the people in the
please.
world to say that to.
Of all the gin
Like-
joints.
Honestly.
He's like, you don't understand.
Wow.
But yeah, I came back in and I tried to understand her perspective. And eventually I was like, okay. It was basically, the gist of it was, well, I don't hate all their music, but they were really overplayed and I got sick of it. And I
They
was
had
like
2 overplayed songs.
I was just like, I can't accept this. But she fucking likes Jimmy Buffett.
Whatever.
Her
Honestly,
opinion
whatever.
doesn't count.
Oh yeah, I almost fought someone.
Wow. No, I would have absolutely thrown down.
So yeah, so Gerard being in the public eye and therefore MCR being in the public eye is going to be dangerous for some people who say things to me. Is basically what the conclusion is. This popularity, great. But also, don't talk shit.
Yeah, just keep your mouth
Oh,
shut.
shit.
You never know who you're fucking talking to. Because 1 second you could be like, yeah, the Umbrella Academy was great. I hate that band, though. You don't know if you're talking to an MCR stan. In the year of our Lord 2019, some of us look like real adults now. Like, some of us actually present, as people now.
Yeah.
And, we're everywhere. And you're gonna get
You
hurt.
never know. We'll crawl out of the shadows and slit your throat. All right. So anyway, that will end our episode for today. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Cassie, once again. And we'll see you, I don't know, probably next time that we have a thing that that you're the expert on that we'd like you to join in on. So anyways, I'm Haley.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Cassie.
And this is My Chemical Fancast.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.